My name is Nouman Ali Khan. You guys are watching Integration TV.
Welcome to Integration TV Online. I'm Holanaleya. I know I don't get a chance to see all my viewers on Sundays as much as I like to because our television season has started in Toronto, Canada and across Canada on Fiva TV. So to be with you on this blessed month of Ramadan is very special to me. The man that you saw just right now giving a shout out to Integration TV, he's actually someone that has inspired me that I wanted to bring on the show. And like I said, when you have a desire to do good things in life, Allah makes a way for you to connect with the right people. I kindly emailed Nouman Ali Khan and I said, hey, can you possibly do an interview for my young Somali audience out there? And he responded and said yes. So I say to you, everyone out there, what you seek is seeking you. So I thank him for coming on our show shortly after, in a few minutes. And I'm excited to share this journey and learn about his journey. A lot of young people in our community struggle with religion and they struggle with culture. So I would like to take this opportunity to explore that for the month of Ramadan and see how we can maybe bridge the gap for a lot of the young people out there. I get a lot of emails from young viewers around the world who ask me often about my decision to wear hijab. And I know for the month of Ramadan, this is a good discussion to have. And I don't want anyone who's watching this show to get alarmed if they don't wear a hijab. What I want to tell you today is that wearing a hijab is a personal journey, and I truly believe that in our community, many are judged for not wearing it, and many are valued for wearing it. But I can tell you right now, the best decision you can make in life is if a hijab comes from your heart, that is the best decision. It doesn't have to come from other people. It doesn't have to come from you going to a mall and saying, oh, there's going to be a lot of Somali people there. Let me cover up. You know, because anything that you're doing for other people and not for your creator is not genuine. So for me, the journey to wear the hijab really started when I went to Somalia. And well, it started 3 years ago, but the final decision to never look back started when I was in Somalia. What I realized going back home is how short this life is and how it could really change you as a person if you look at what life really means in this lifetime. For me, when I went back to Somalia, I realized that I need to change my life. I need to really think about the type of person I want to be 10, 15, 20 years from now. And inshallah, if Allah gives me that much time in life in this planet. So the hijab for me is from the inside and out. So I've always had it in my heart. I've always been, I feel like, a very positive human being that contributed well to her society. Obviously, we all have problems. We all go through things in life. But for the character-wise, I feel like I didn't struggle much in character, but what I did struggle with was having my outside appearance reflect my inside appearance. So alhamdulillah, I wear a hijab because I choose to and because I want to. And I hope that all young girls out there can make that decision on their own, not be bullied, not be criticized, and not be told. The hijab is a journey between you and your creator. So I wish you guys all a wonderful journey. And now let's get to our interview with Nouman Ali Khan. I'm so excited because normally I'm very bubbly, but we're about to break the fast, so I'm trying to be very calm.
This is Integration TV, the first English television for Somalis around the world.
Welcome back to Integration TV Online, our exclusive interview with the one and only Ustadh, teacher Nouman Ali Khan from around the world in Malaysia will join us shortly. But probably, I think there's anybody who goes on the journey to learn more about their religion will see that this man is actually very miraculous in the way that he's teaching the Quran in the West, because I think a lot of young people that are Muslims are struggling with figuring out the Quran because they don't speak Arabic a lot of times. What he's done is beautifully simplified lectures that he does in English. And I personally am one of his viewers. I've learned so much about my own religion by listening to him. I know a lot of times our young Somalis don't get to go to the masajids, but the khutbah is in Somali, so they don't even understand Somali. And on top of that, they're not understanding Arabic. So we're in a little bit of a trouble, guys. So I think that in order for us Muslims in the West to start looking at things in a different perspective for Somali youth, is we need to start teaching them and introducing them to new ways to learn the religion. He's considered one of the 500 most influential Muslims in the world, and he goes around lecturing on the understanding of the Quran and learning about the Quran through the Arabic language. Please welcome Ustadh Nouman Ali Khan to Integration TV. So please welcome to the program. Many of our viewers will relate to your story of being a Muslim in the West and coming to America as a young Muslim. What was that experience like?
I started, my early childhood was actually in Germany. My father worked in the embassy for Pakistan, so we traveled quite a bit. But most of my early childhood was spent in Saudi Arabia and some of it in Pakistan. And I came to the United States when I was a teenager. I came straight into public high school, which was a pretty serious culture shock. Because you come from conservative societies where boys and girls get separate education and you have traditional family values and all of these things. And all of a sudden you're in public high school where all bets are off. And even simple things like, showing respect to your teacher doesn't work. People are using all kinds of foul language. I didn't even have the English vocabulary when I first moved to understand that people are using dirty language.
Did you have a culture shock?
It was quite a shock from the beginning. And it was a lot to, inculcate. But over time, at first you're shocked and even disgusted by some of the things that you see, the inappropriately dressed people and the language and the behavior and all of it. But over time, human beings have a need to try to fit in, right? So you start letting go of what you had and you realize that, this is the new normal. You have to fit in with everybody else. You're the one that's strange. They're not the ones that are strange. You're the one that's strange. And that's just a concept in social psychology. When everybody around you is a certain way, you are compelled to fit in.
So what did you do?
Well, I decided to try to fit in. I tried to learn English as best as I could. I tried to mimic the way everybody around me was dressed, because we have a need to try to fit in and not be the laughing stock. Because if I dressed the way I normally dressed, everybody would laugh at me. Did your mother knit that sweater or something? You know what I'm saying? So yeah. So you don't want to be that. Nobody likes to be laughed at. Nobody likes to be pointed out as the strange one. So I blended in. I dressed and talked and walked and behaved in ways that I've never done before. Not because I wanted to, but because I just didn't want to be laughed at. And I think a lot of young people go through that. They actually change the way they look, the way they talk, the way they behave, not because they necessarily think it's better, but because they just don't want to be ridiculed. They don't want to stick out and be the object of everybody else's jokes.
So do you think this causes the youth to try to fit in and be different around family, almost like they're living a double life? What happens over time when people do that?
Over time, you start accepting that, and then you realize, when you're walking home from school, you realize that you're 10 steps away from home, so you need to transform yourself again. Because when you walk in, you have to be the old self. Right, so you have to pull your pants up a little more, and you have to stand up straighter, and you have to spit the gum out or whatever it is, and you start learning to live this double life, a life that your parents kind of see for a while, and a life that's outside, around the block. And over time, you can't live that. It's impossible. You could try to do it for a little while, but over time, it's just not sustainable. One of them is going to win.
So which one wins over time?
Over time, the outside life, it took over, right? And I didn't want to be this person that I used to be. I just wanted to be, and I would argue at the time, if you asked me, why are you behaving like this? I would even say at the time, because I was really stupid at the time, I'm just being myself. The truth of it is, I wasn't being myself. I was actually being what some other people wanted me to be.
And it seems like you'll do anything to fit in, right?
Whether you like it or not, whether you believe it or not, whether it makes sense to you or not. If everybody around me is wearing clothes that are 4 sizes bigger than they should be wearing, I should wear that too. If everybody else has, this brand of sneakers, I need to get that too. Even if it's made in the same child labor factory in some country, it doesn't matter to me. I need to wear that brand. So it became about brands. It became about the kind of music you listen to. It became about, the kinds of, words you use, the way you dress your clothes, because in high school you have all these different cliques, right? Each group dresses a certain way and talks a certain way and listens to a certain kind of music. So you have to decide which clique you belong to, and then you basically, You would think in America, you don't have uniform in school, right? Yeah, you can dress how you want, but actually there is uniform. Yeah. Each group has a uniform, and you have to figure out which one you're going to belong to, or at least try to belong to, and you fit in.
So, but I think that it goes beyond the dress code. It seems like the youth are adapting to behaviors now. Would you agree with that?
It gets into behavior, right? Because these guys and these girls, they do certain things that you've never done before, and you know they're wrong. But now that you're part of this group, if you want to fit in, you have to do them too, right? So you need to go to that party, and you need to do or consume what they're consuming, and you need to do the behavior that they're doing. And so I got involved in all of that and basically lost myself. Didn't see the point in going to prayer. I didn't pray for a couple of years. Some of my friends were atheists and they were proud of it. And I decided to be an atheist and be proud of that too. And, took a couple of philosophy courses by the time I got to college. And my religion was basically done. I had no reason to be Muslim.
How did you come back to Islam?
It's actually pretty funny. When I was in college, I was going to be president of the Asia Society. And the reason for that was that I was pretty well connected with all the DJs around the city. And so I could get them on discount for the parties at the school. And that was the reason I was going to get elected. So I'm sitting there waiting for the election, and this guy in a beard walks by, and he puts up a flyer that says Muslim Student Association. And I look at this thing and I'm like, man, they must get Muslims from every country, which means their parties must be so much bigger. So I asked the guy, do you guys party? And he goes, yeah, of course we party. Are your parties big? He goes, yeah, of course, you should come. And so I go show up and there's like nobody there. Just two guys and a box of pizza.
So that was your journey back to Islam. That's so funny. Anyways, we want to thank you so much for joining us on this beautiful day of Ramadan and sharing your life experience. I know you're getting ready to meet the Prime Minister of Malaysia, so good luck with that. But our last question is, how do we make young Muslims excited about Islam again? And when the West, a lot of times people in the West are constantly judging them as they are so-called not good enough Muslims. How do we get them excited back to the religion?
The fact that you're still breathing is actually proof that Allah still gives you opportunity. Allah wants more from you. Because if you were a hopeless cause, there was no reason for Allah to keep you alive. There's no reason for that. He controls life and death. He keeps us alive so long as there's potential for us to do better. So for young people, they should never ever lose sight of that. They should never forget that there's better that they can do, and the only one they should be comparing themselves to is their own selves from yesterday. How have I become more productive, better, stronger, more sincere, more honest, smarter than I was yesterday? That's the one you're competing with, your own self, nobody else. If somebody else does better than you at school, somebody else is healthier than you, faster than you, more able than you, that doesn't mean anything. It really doesn't, because there's always going to be someone better. But the one that you have to compete with is yourself. And once you learn that, then all the pressures of society go away. Because the only pressure you have is on your own.
This is Integration TV. Thank you so much for joining me online on this blessed day of Ramadan. And I want to wish you guys Ramadan Kareem, and all my viewers around the world. I love you all, and I wish you peace and blessings on this beautiful month. And never forget, no more dream killers, but more importantly, change starts with you. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time.